History is a contentious business always. As times change, our views of the past change. History is back there and always shifting. 60 years ago, a great patriotic project to celebrate the history of Australia began with the publication of the first volume of the Australian Dictionary of Biography. The ADB, as it's known, is both wonderful and exasperating. It ignores horrors, it downplays the role of women, it's indifferent to issues that grip Australia today. So a project is underway at the National University to bring the ADB into the light. In charge of the project is Melanie Nolan, Professor of History at the ANU. But decolonising those 20 volumes, 9 million words and almost 14,000 biographies can't be done overnight. Professor Melanie Nolan, welcome to Late Night Live.
Hello, David. Thanks for having me.
Why does this project have to be done?
Well, it's overdue. Any project, as you mentioned in your introduction, that's been going for 6 decades is going to, face revisionism, face issues of presentism, change over time. Our values change. We find new sources. We have new questions. Our relationship with our audience changes. Society changes. It's a long time since historians have been completely objective. We're aware of the construction of history, and it's part of the process.
Am I being fair in describing it as a patriotic project? It seems to me to have an underlying celebratory feeling about it.
I think that's its origins, and I think it's changed over time even in that regard. So unlike other dictionary projects, the ADB started out as having a interesting and a different selection criteria. So it wasn't just about significant figures in history, a patriotic endeavour. It was also about representation, about having representative Australians in the ADB, and that was very unusual in the 1950s and 60s to be doing that. But I think you're quite right. It has had a celebratory past. People who were seen as disreputable were not included. The research was very rudimentary. We've had an avalanche of research since. We know a lot more about a lot more people. So I think it's like anything, foundational culture is extraordinarily important. And the ADB's origins as one of the national projects, a dictionary. Every nation needs a dictionary project, and indeed most countries have a dictionary in the Western world have a dictionary project. Yes, it has patriotic origins, but the ADB is also different because it's in a university, and none of the other projects are in a university except the Canadian one, and it's in 2 universities. So we now have different objectives. We're not just telling stories about people we value in the past, but also analysing those because we are social scientists. So the ADB is between humanities and social sciences, and so historians want to use the ADB to do historical endeavours as well as just tell stories.
One little example of the faults of the ADB or the gaps of the ADB. I have a great uncle, a man called Darcy Ure, and he's celebrated in the ADB as a pioneer of long-distance droving. And indeed, he was that. He was also a slaughterer of Aborigines on a scale throughout his career, unmentioned. Known but unmentioned. And is that typical?
Yeah. Look, I don't want to be defensive. I agree with you. And how well known was that? And you yourself were shocked. I mean, I've looked at your book, Culling for Country, and you yourself were surprised by this, native police escapades of your relative. So one of the things is, we didn't have the benefit of your book when that article was being written.
You're too kind.
And look, I was going to say, we have the benefit of your work on Patrick White, and we have the benefit of your work on Garfield Barwick, and we cite those. So if we'd had your book, we would have been able, and that's the issue. That's the issue about finding out more about people and having sufficient research, and also research which has been published, aired, debated, these issues looked at in more detail. And it wasn't the case, years ago, Darcy...
When Darcy was killing in the Gulf.
Exactly. And we do say he has little sympathy for the natives.
Yes.
But that's a huge understatement. I'm not going to defend...
No, but Melanie, I'm not birching the Australian Dictionary of Biography for that gap.
No.
But could I suggest that one of the reasons... I mean, Darcy's proclivities were very well known because he promoted them. I think there may be a family propensity to self-publication. But what we have now, which was not available 30 or 40 years ago, is Trove. Yes. So that the newspapers of Australia, of which there was, God knows, wasn't it wonderful? There were hundreds of the damn things. They can be searched you can sit at your desk and search these things and the secrets of the past, which were not secret at the time, but have been forgotten. Up they come on your screen.
Look, blessed is Trove, and I cannot agree with you more. And in terms of, past decisions, I mean, you outlined at the beginning, dreadful underestimate of women, the people who were enriched by the compensation to slave owners who came to Australia. 162,000 convicts were transported to Australia. We've only got 170 in the ADB. So in the past, decisions were made about who was going to go into the ADB and who wasn't, and also how they would write them. And luckily, the ADB is it's a ship being rebuilt, and it's a very different creature today than it was in the past.